And we are back with another Black with No Cream podcast. New episode every single Wednesday and Sunday. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, aka Ben Real Verse World. But before we get started, I just want to give a big shout out to our supporters on Patreon who are giving us a few bucks each month to keep this Black with No Cream podcast and Black with No Cream private community up and running. If you're a Patreon supporter already, that means you've unlocked opportunities to listen to this episode 1 week early, or get merch discounted and early access to public events and all the shit that we're gonna do. Anyway, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. If you want to join Patreon, patreon.com/blackwithNoCream. It's the easy way to do it. Just a couple dollars. Helps us out. Helps you out. Gets you some early access to shit, whatever. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. Our special guest on the podcast today is my guy, 𝐅𝐀𝐕𝐎𝐑𝐈𝐓𝐄, the founder of the very popular Instagram account at DroneGear. Originally from Australia, Alex has created a massive path for himself utilizing drones within his career. Alex owns DroneGear Productions, an FAA certified production company that allows him and his squad to fly drones for all types of productions, including films, music videos, documentaries, festivals, and pretty much anything you could ever think of that you would want drone shots from the air. I'm excited for this podcast because Alex has such a dope fucking story, but more importantly, when I was getting my start and first started getting into flying drones and shit, I would constantly send my work to his Instagram account hoping to get a feature. Fast forward to now, me and Alex are homies, so please give me that motherfucking feature, bro. I'll pay you if you want or whatever. Just want that plug so I can get my follows up. If you want to get to know more about owning your own business, working your ass off, and creating at the top level, make sure to listen to this entire episode. Alex has nothing but gems to offer. Thank you, Alex, for hopping on the podcast. If anyone is listening to this podcast right now, I need to tell you guys something very personal to me. Something I haven't really told anyone else in my life before. Our new motherfucking merch is out, is live, it is fucking on the internet, and it is dope. You have heard it first, guys. We have limited edition hoodies. They're about to sell out. We have the Creator long sleeve t-shirt. We have the short sleeve t-shirt. We have the Black with No Cream mug. We have the fucking BWNC hat. We got everything you could ever think of. We got a shit ton of shirts. We even have one in pink, not just black and white. So you guys need to get on the merch store right now. Check it out. Support your boys and your girls. Anyone that gets this shit really means that they care about Black with No Cream, which I appreciate. So shop BWNC.com is the website. Get on there right now. It means the world to us. So thank you for your support. Oh, and if you do buy something, shoot me a DM on Instagram so I can personally thank you for being a real one. Namaste, or whatever the fuck people say. If this is your first time tuning into the podcast, you're probably wondering, what does Black with No Cream stand for? Black with No Cream is a private content creator group fueled by caffeine, or at least I take my coffee black with no cream, but you can drink or not drink whatever fucking caffeine you fuck with and still be part of our community. We are a free private group on Facebook open to creators of all kinds, aka if you make videos, if you do fucking photography, if you're marketing, management, editing, dancing, etc., 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 all creators are welcome. Our private group has been growing rapidly. We have a shit ton of members working together. They're sharing their content, they're sharing their feedback, they're asking for tips and tricks and doing all that stuff with the goal of pushing each other to become the best motherfucking content creators on earth. And if you join our group, you're gonna love it. So bwnc.com/join. We would love to fucking have you. Please join. All right, that's it. Enjoy the work week. Keep creating. Make sure to tune in every Wednesday and Sunday for a new Black with No Cream episode. And without further ado, I bring to you my interview with Alex and the most epic podcast intro ever created right motherfucking now.
Attention.
If you stop this podcast recording at any time, you will die.
I don't want to die.
Do you want to live?
Yeah.
You have 24 hours to share this podcast with 5 people or you will die.
I'm kidding, you won't die. You're just weak shit for not sharing.
And the winner of the best motherfucking podcast goes to Black with No Cream.
What do you think?
It's so fucking dumb and so fucking Ben Haggerty.
I knew you would say that. And we are back with another Black with No Cream podcast.
Yeah,
how you like that intro?
That was good. I loved it.
𝐅𝐀𝐕𝐎𝐑𝐈𝐓𝐄,
yep.
𝐀𝐕𝐎𝐑𝐈𝐓𝐄, aka 𝐅𝐀𝐕𝐎𝐑𝐈𝐓𝐄.
Unfortunately, like the judge.
Okay.
You know, if anyone watched the news. My surname's never been in the media so much from that judge, but nothing like him.
From the judge?
Oh, it was a whole media thing.
From you? What happened?
Oh, it was like some judge here that was all over the news for like weeks.
Same name?
Yeah, same name, but spelt slightly differently.
Did people think it was you then?
No, but my last name was getting way too much media attention for the wrong reasons.
Me and Macklemore have the exact same birth name.
Oh, really?
So his name's Ben Haggerty, just spelled with like 2 G's and an E.
Yeah.
Ben Haggerty with 1 G. And
yeah.
Shit, when Thrift Shop popped off, I was getting a lot of messages.
Yeah.
Anyway, cool. How you doing, dude?
I'm good. I'm really good. It's been such my busiest start to a year ever.
Yeah.
Media-wise and travel and work-wise. So yeah, things are good.
Things are good.
Yeah.
If you could, I'll preface this in the intro, but if you could let everyone know like what you do, what your specialties are. I kind of summarize it in the beginning, but
yeah. So I'm from Australia, if you can't tell by the accent. But yeah, I'm a drone pilot. I've been flying for about 7 years now. I'm a CASA licensed drone pilot, which is Australia. I'm licensed in Australia, and I'm also an FAA licensed drone pilot here in the US.
Nice.
Been living here for about 5 years. I think 4 officially. I had to do the back and forth a lot, but I specialize in aerial cinematography, so drones. My company also specializes in camera movement, so we have DroneGear Productions. DroneGear was basically started like as an Instagram account.
Right.
So it was the first sort of independent drone channel on Instagram that was sharing content. So I was like sharing other drone pilots' work. So it sort of started there and was a place, you know, just to showcase gear, everything drone related, people's work, and started this huge community, and it blew up to I got over
huge
150,000 followers on Instagram, and we don't sell any products. The name sounds like we sell products, Drone Gear, but we don't. We're not a shop. I've sold the Drone Gear hats, but
so you guys have like merch and stuff, but you're not selling, or you're not retail shop.
Yeah, I don't really sell. Like I prefer to just give the hats out to you and like
I appreciate it.
Homies in the that create, and if people wanted to buy them, they'd buy them.
Right.
Represent, and started the hashtag Drone Gear, which just got over 1 million hashtags.
Jesus
which I started with 0, which is like really cool. You know, like
nuts.
To know that I've started that hashtag and like built this community of drone pilots around the world is really cool.
When did you start this account?
So I started it 2013.
I was gonna say, because I think I used to try and submit my drone shots to you, and I was just like, man, this would be dope if I can get one share. That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, it was good. So I'm sharing sort of less work now and just posting more of our production work and gear from our sponsors. So like really gear emphasized, and sort of want to just post like the best aerial cinematography and photography.
Well, and you guys, you've kind of created like the space to become like the verified go-to guru, if you will, on all things drone related, you know? Yeah,
so, you know, I definitely don't know everything, but between me and all my friends that are really tight in the industry, if I can't answer something, I know someone that can do it. And if jobs come up, drone production jobs, if one of my mates is booked or needs help or needs gear, we all kind of help each other out.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
So when did it become like I know we'll talk deeper into this a little bit, but when did you switch it from just an Instagram account that was cool to share content to starting to do production? Because you were probably getting booked yourself personally, and then you kind of transformed it into a production company? Yeah. So it was always a place for me to showcase my work, which I was like, you know, I've been the curator, so I'd post some cool videos and do some, you know, drone boomerangs like you do those sweet boomerangs that you do on concert and stuff. So people would love those. Like, and I was doing it like before it was a thing, and it was like, but then other people would do it. But I guess it turned into like specifically, you know, I shifted the company last year. I had an executive producer from another drone company who sort of had some beef with another company, and he's like, I'm leaving. I was talking at NAB conference for Tiffin, which is a filter company, and they own Steadicam, so I'm sponsored by them. That's dope. I'm
leaving Vegas. I get this phone call, and it's my mate Matt, who I used to work for this company, this drone production company.
You used to, or he did?
I did. I used to work as a contractor for them, and he's like, dude, I'm over it. I'm like, got screwed over on this, you know, as a partner. He's like, I want to join DroneGear and I want to start DroneGear Productions. So it's like, we've essentially sort of got 2 companies now. We've got DroneGear as the, you know, the YouTube and Instagram account. Now we've got DroneGear Productions. So now we're basically hiring drone pilots, and we're getting work in Hollywood and in the business sort of all around the US and the world. And like, just because we have a large network of pilots, it's like, if we can't do it like here, we've got someone in Canada or Australia. So
absolutely.
Yeah, we're just kind of building off that, our community, and like having such a good relationship with all the drone pilots. To sort of start a premier drone production company.
Because I know that we tried to do this interview like 3 different times. I think one of the last ones you got booked out for like a Netflix job or something like that. So you're doing like anything from music videos to movies to television? Or?
Yeah, so if I'm not doing a job, like because I've been traveling a lot lately from my girlfriend, which we'll probably touch on in a minute, but I've got my team of guys. So just recently a Fat Joe music video came up, downtown LA. My producer got the phone call. He sorts out all the permits, all the insurances, all the paperwork. That's for anyone that's looking to get into the drone industry, the hardest thing is the paperwork. You know, if you don't have the paperwork, like you can't get the job. You can't turn up to these big jobs without permits, without insurance. You just can't even walk on set. Yeah. So we had a Fat Joe music video that a couple of my guys shot. I didn't even shoot it. I was actually on a Westlife shoot for another friend, helping him out, which that shoot was a bit of a nightmare, but won't even go into that one. But the Fat Joe one went off flawlessly. Sent one of my two best guys there. They did 3 shots, nailed each one, first take, done. But yeah, I've done Netflix stuff, done Hulu series. We've been doing some Apple series lately. And then again, if I don't have certain gear or it's on another job, I'll pull in one of our drone pilots who has that gear. So we just did an Apple series up in Malibu before all the fires because Apple's about to release a streaming series. So that was cool. Did a 5-day Ford commercial last year with Academy Award winner Wally Pfister. Oh shit! And those commercials just aired. One of them aired last night on the Super Bowl halftime.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's one of the stoppages, like halftime Ford commercial. 3 of my drone shots. So.
Damn.
And that was really cool. Yeah, and literally. The Academy Award winner Wally Pfister, who won his Academy Award for Inception, with Christopher Nolan. He was the DP cinematographer. He was literally operating camera as I was flying drones. And anyone that knows dual operating, like drone pilots, usually you have your boy, you have your team,
someone you work with,
and you're just in sync with. And I'm like, yeah, he's won an Academy Award, but I've never worked with this guy as a camera operator for drone.
Very shitty.
And that we definitely had a bad first day with the camera car. All their wireless signals interfering with the drone camera signals. Right. So I had pilot signal and he didn't have his camera operator signal and he was losing his mind. And it made me look really bad because I'd have the gear working, ready to go. Because when you're on set and on these big sets, when you're called, like you got to fucking nail the shot. Right. And as soon as the camera car came within like 200 feet, boom, the camera signal would drop. Damn. So there was still another 4-day shoot. But luckily, I figured it out and I said, Wally, look, the camera car's got to go. When we're doing drone shots, no camera car, it's got to like piss off. Right. And as soon as the camera car pissed off, he had feed and like
everything
the last shot of that Super Bowl halftime commercial was this beautiful white. There was a top down, there was a Mustang shot before that, and then the final was just like, you know, epic beauty in the Mojave. And
damn.
Yeah, so that was cool. I was like halftime Super Bowl, and it was the other one was aired, which was another Ford spot, was aired on the World Series.
Oh shit!
Halftime. So I'm like, fuck. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Damn. That's crazy, right? Like, I mean, just to think about going from flying as a hobbyist and just having, what was your first drone that you ever had?
My first drone was actually the Free Fly Systems CineStar 6, which is like, DJI wasn't really a thing when I got into drones, to put things in perspective. Right. They were making the Flywheel 550s, but they weren't really known for drones yet. It was really Free Fly Systems who made the CineStar 6 and the CineStar 8, and the gimbals weren't, you know, they were servo based, they weren't brushless, and like it was a fucking nightmare. You know what I mean? It's like literally I had to buy a Microsoft computer to have the software to adjust, and I'm just like, shit was in German, and like I'm just like, so we've definitely come a long way.
Such a long way.
And the first time I bought that, it was like 25 grand US, and I'm like strapped to my Canon 5D Mark III at the time, which was like the thing. Yeah. And if like you could fly that, you were getting jobs.
Oh my God.
First flight crashed.
Oh
like shit. The GPS wasn't working, and it was like in ADI mode, and I'm like, fuck, like had it configured to the wrong button. And I'm just like,
this was a job or just even learning?
Yeah, this was learning, but I was just like out in the field. No. But like even like the GPS then was not good. Yeah. And then DJI obviously came out with the Phantom, and like I remember seeing, I'm like, oh, this is a cool toy. You can strap the GoPro to it. And then they brought out a gimbal for it, and then they brought out a 2-axis, then they brought out a 3-axis GoPro gimbal, and you're like, cool, but this is still fisheye, and then everyone's getting the modified lenses, so you could lose the fisheye, and then like that was cool. That 3-axis gimbal, you could get you like usable shots, right? And then it's like then they lost the GoPro, and they came out with the Phantom Vision Plus, and I remember getting this dope shot of the Venice skate park, like the first top down. Oh shit. And had it blown up, and like
everyone went nuts for it.
Yeah, everyone was like, fuck, that's crazy. And then like everyone started taking shots, but it was cool to get one of those, like, I think I got the first top down shot of Venice. That's crazy to get that. Park.
Do you know how many times that shit's in my Explore feed? Everyone takes their, you go down to Venice right now, there's 4 Mavics like cruising around out there.
And you're not supposed to fly down there, but everybody does. Yeah, but I did it before there were like laws and like you could do anything. Like you could literally bust out on Sunset Boulevard here and just like fly. And it was like the Wild West for like laws. You could literally do anything.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, it's getting crazy now. They're finding ways to, especially with the recent incidents, like in what, Bushwick or what airport was that?
Gatwick. And it's like anything. You give people a car, people do the wrong thing with cars. Yeah, totally. Same with drones. It'll always be that 1% that'll do something. You know? Yeah.
It's getting crazy. Damn, that's fucking nuts. I got my friend Tim built a 𝐅𝐀𝐕𝐎𝐑𝐈𝐓𝐄. I think that was my first experience with the drone, which at the time he like had it. It was just all these cables and shit, and it looked so ugly. And I thought it was like the coolest thing because he took off and it was like, wow, wow.
Yeah. I mean, it was a fucking wild. Like for anyone out there that was there and witnessed what you wouldn't like those first drones. Like so much respect to all the drone pilots out there that were like building them, and like you'd crash and it was like shit, 25 grand, just boom. Like, and then you're like trying to put this thing back together again, and like,
did you get back together?
I did.
You did?
Because I had to go. Thank you. Yeah. Well, when I bought it, I'm like, they're like, yeah, you want to buy some extra booms and some spare parts and motors and shit. Right. I'm like, okay, cool. So I paid extra. I'm like, fuck, I've spent 25 grand. What's a couple more grand on like parts, especially when all the parts were in the US and I was like based in Sydney. But it was wild. But the progression in the industry and like seeing DJI, like, yeah, it was just phenomenal. Like the build of like DJI, like they definitely got some huge financing from China, and that just like, but credit to them. They're taking all the technology and just putting it into one and making it usable with the apps, and just like,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
What was your first shot? Do you remember I remember the first shot that we got with that piece of shit drone, and we flew over a train that was coming through our downtown area, and I just remember seeing, it was so glitchy, and it was just like a piece of shit camera, but passing over that train, that's when I was like, oh my God, this changes everything. Like this is ridiculous. Like I can see this and control the tilt, and he's flying the drone. Like, what is this? This is so nuts. Do you remember yours?
I think one of my first like good shots that wasn't DJI, and before DJI was from this Free Fly Systems, and I was on a golf course, and it was like sunrise in Australia, and I was flying over this big water feature, and I was just like the 5D Mark III. I had this thing dialed in, and then like I can't even tell you how much pain and heartache it took to get it like level and stable, and like even then there was like a little jitter, and you'd have to use the post-production stabilization software, but even just this like rise and push over this golf course was like,
so
and like the lens flares and the 5D, and I was like, fuck yeah, that was like, it was an epic shot, but just to get it working and like have it dialed in was like half the battle.
Right.
And then like, you know, you think, I'm like, shit, well, I want to take photos now with this, so I had to figure out how to do a remote shutter wirelessly, and I'm like, fuck, where do I even start? So I hit the guys up at Quadrocopter, and he built me the cable, sent it, then I had to like plug it in, and then put the laptop in, and then like it took me like 8 hours, and then once I did it, I remember hitting this switch and hearing the shutter go,
and it worked,
and I was like, yes.
That is so crazy.
And that was like a long probably like 2 days, like one after like 2 weeks of getting the cable, and it's just like,
just frustrated
just to take a photo. But now like you just, with the DJI, you just,
it's automated. It can do fucking controlled hyperlapses and shit. I'm like, this is ridiculous, man.
The hyperlapses are insane. One of my buddies started doing the first hyperlapses before DJI did it, like, you know, made it all automatic and stuff. And Brian Bloss, you should go and follow him. He's a very, very good drone pilot.
Dope.
And he's like the original aerial hyperlapse king.
I love that, because I always thought that I did that shit first, but I couldn't figure out how to in post. Like if I flew from A to B I would just make 2 marks and I would just slowly go through and just try to hold it as long as I could. And the bobbling would throw it off. So when you did speed up the clip, you had this weird shift in the picture. So like sometimes I could get it if it was completely still outside. It was nice if you were moving fast enough. But I remember doing one over sunset and I thought it was like the coolest thing, but it was only because it was at night that it hid all the errors. You know what I mean? Yeah. But doing it in the daytime, I couldn't figure out how to tweak it. Now they got it so dialed in. Yeah, it's definitely not my specialty, that's for sure. But anyone that can like do all that before it was a thing, I was like, you notice that content. And because I did have the account DroneGear, people that were doing dope work stood out. You know? So it was always cool to give them shout outs and respect and stuff. Yeah. So going back, you're from Sydney originally. So were you always into filming and everything like that? You had your 5D. I'm gonna move this for you just a little bit. Yeah, no, I'm actually a carpenter and a builder. I was a carpenter and a builder for 10 years, and in the family business. And then like as we were building all these beautiful architecturally designed houses. We just build a house that would take 1 to 2 years to build on the water, 3-4 stories, beautiful. And then we just walk away with like no photos or record or website. So
there's just no documentation.
So I'm like, and then Facebook came out, and then they launched Facebook pages. I'm like, oh, cool. I'll start the Facebook page. I'll buy a little Canon Rebel TL, whatever it was back then. And it was like $900, and I'm like in a tripod, and I'm going to start taking all the photos of the finished houses and then promote them on the page. So it kind of stemmed from that. And that was like 2009, whenever Facebook pages started, like that was when I got the camera and started doing the marketing and the social media for our family business, construction business, and then started doing drone aerial. Like I'm like, damn, I want to get some aerial shots of these houses, because they weren't just houses in the suburbs, they're like houses on cliffs and like water and just epic views. I'm like, I want to get aerials, so I looked at helicopters, and like $3-4 grand to rent a helicopter for like an hour. Yeah, crazy money. In Australia, everything's more expensive. And so yeah, I was like, and then I stumbled upon drones and like these forums, and it was like almost like the dark web or something. You're like trying to like find out like, you know, how guys are getting these shots. And I remember someone showing me this reel, and then I got showed another reel. There's these guys called the Copter Kids, and they were pretty much like one of the first. I remember them. Yeah, anyone in the drone who knows the Copter Kids were like doing some pretty badass shit with the single rotor RCs and like putting red cameras on, and like, yeah, those guys have been around for a while. And so I saw this guy, I'm like, wow, man, I want to do what those guys are doing. And then I was just sort of a progression from there. Once I dropped 25K on this drone, I just went all in, you know. So. How did you? I mean, $25,000 is a fucking shit ton of money. Like, was that just you creating your budget from having built all these houses and turning your job money and just being like, all right, cool, I'm going to invest into this because I think that this could become something? Like, you know, that's such a massive risk. What made you want to take that? It's the same thing as buying a red, or you know what I mean? Like a lot of people just know. They know. Absolutely. No, you know, I was making good money as a carpenter. It's not like here where like carpenters don't make that much money. In Australia, you make like $70-80 an hour as a carpenter. So you can make anywhere from $2 to $4 grand a week, which is like good money as a tradesman. So, and then I bought an apartment, got a mortgage at like 21. Oh shit. So I was all licensed, and like, so then I flipped this apartment, made a couple $100 grand from that in a few years. Started traveling, and then I had some money sort of still stacked away. You were traveling in Australia? Just Southeast Asia, and then I came to the US in like 2012. Oh, okay. And then that was it. Like I was like, what money I had left, I'm like, I'm throwing this in this business, and that was it. That's fucking crazy, man. Yeah. But yeah, it was like, I always knew it was going to be big, but like I didn't think DJI would be like as massive as I would be. I'm like, just crazy. They just blew up, and the whole making that technology, I knew it was going to be big, but it's like definitely blown up way bigger than I ever imagined. Yeah, it's taken such a long stride, and the way that it's the shift of it, not only in their tech and what people are producing, but I think that's what's cool, and what's making them blow up so much is that the people, their customers are creating their content. Yeah, because I would go to their channel, and I always was frustrated when watching their channel, because it would just be a bunch of shots of like the only videos they would put out would be like rally racing cars. Yeah, like they must have had a partnership with them and would document it or whatever. Yeah, and that was cool, but there was only like one way to shoot video from a drone.
Absolutely. They've definitely like drones are great, and what I love about DJI, what they've done is they've done this progression. They're like, okay, shit, we're like making the best drone built-in gimbals. Then they started the Ronin. The DJI Ronin came out, the Ronin M, which I'm sure you've used, and any videographer or someone that's in even cinematography, if you're shooting features or docs, they've made this technology work and be accessible and affordable for low indie stuff. And it's like they've really revolutionized like the camera movement. Free Fly Systems was definitely one of the first companies.
Definitely, like, I was gonna say the movie, when the movie came out the first time, I remember watching that video.
So mad respect to that company, and that was my first big purchase. I was an investor. I invested into that company, but I've definitely progressed more towards DJI. The Ronin 2 is just like such a beast of a gimbal. For like we got it. I actually got that sort of for free from DJI. I did some content for them for a product release, the Mavic Air. So I spoke at a couple of events for them, and pretty much got that Ronin 2 for free. And we've got the car gimbal, and I'm like, we've done 80 miles an hour with a fully loaded red package. 80 miles and the gimbal has not broken.
It looked ridiculous.
It's stable.
That's
rock
insane.
solid. We got the Flow Cine Black Arm, which is a 4-axis stabilizer that you can mount on a car. And it was just, we coupled that with the Ronin 2, and you're like 80 miles an hour.
That's
and it's
insane.
just like stable.
Jesus.
It's just like mind-boggling.
You shoot any car commercial.
So they've killed the drone gambit for filmmakers and, ground operators, and they've done the wheels now, and they're just like, it's a beast of a company.
Yeah, they've definitely, so that you would say that. And I think the other issue is, which was harder for people that didn't have as much of a budget to invest into it, or were nervous, like they didn't know where it would go. Like I remember spending $1,000 on the DJI, the Phantom 2 Plus or whatever.
The
Vision 2 Plus.
2 Plus,
I remember being like, fuck, do I buy this? I don't know. Like I was just trying to get into the real estate game in Iowa. I was like, getting the Ronin and stuff like that. And I borrowed my friends, and I would just like hover it like 5 feet and then land it and be like, okay, like I'm gonna take a break like 30 minutes because I'm scared as hell. But like going into Free Fly, everything was so awesome, but it cost an awesome price.
It did. And you know what, respect to those guys, because they've done a lot of it. It's all in Washington, and but they've definitely had some of their IP stolen, I would say, from companies like DJI. Like they brought out the Movi Pro with the ring and then the legs, and then
immediately. And
then I went to the launch of the Ronin 2, and it was like, they've made a better gimbal, more solid, but they've copied the ring, the leg, like, the resting legs. So it's like, it's frustrating for a company like Free Fly Systems that innovates and creates something like the Movi, and then a bigger company will come along and take parts of it and just, and it's, so that's I feel for them there.
But I'm sure that's Apple and Android. That's every car company like competing with each other.
It's like any US company is always fighting to keep their IP.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know there's a couple of companies, like there's an Innovative Cart. They brought out this sick film cart that flat packed, and then another company, I won't mention that company's name, but it's like the next year came out with an aluminium one, which was like an identical rip-off, but
so crazy that you can do that.
Innovative had all their trademarks and copyrights. Is that what you call them? Trademarks?
So they
like can't sell it in the US and Canada and stuff.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so they just like shut it down. And I know the CEO of Innovative, and he's hooked us up a bunch of stuff, and everyone on set, you'll probably end up getting one of those dope film carts, and they flat pack to nothing.
That's crazy.
And you can, you put all your gear on it, and so
God damn.
Yeah, so much gear out there.
I know. But I think that's what's cool, because I've always had such a love for flying drones, and that was honestly the first, and still is, one of the biggest things that like builds a relationship for me out here. Like coming out here, I didn't know anyone, but I had my Phantom, and I would be like on a music video set, and this was before the real rules made sense. And I had been FAA certified in Iowa to do like real estate stuff, and honestly, I don't know too much about it. I remember doing it, and I remember that it was like this extensive process to become certified. And it suggested you hire a lawyer, and it costs you 10 grand or something to So I was like grabbing some other public file, and I was like changing the words and trying to figure out how to make it make sense. Anyway, got it. And I got out here and I started doing the music videos, and I'd just be on set and I'd just be doing behind the scenes, or not even, maybe I was just doing like PA work, and I would just say, hey, I could go get a drone shot of like the car over on that bridge. Would you guys want that? And they'd be like, sure, maybe. We'll see. And I'd go get it, and it would be like they'd use 6 of them in a video, and all of a sudden I'm in Chris Brown's music videos and stuff, like getting shots. Nervous that it wouldn't pair well with red footage, but surprisingly it didn't hold, like it wasn't too bad. Yeah,
I think, you know, like what you've just mentioned is like such a good point. Like being there and like going, hey, I can get this shot. A lot of directors and DPs, like they've had to be educated on how to use drones, and like a lot of old school people, like no, they just like same old formula. And you know, like directors that embrace this new technology with, you know, up and coming guys like us in the industry, like they're like, what do you guys reckon? You're like, oh, well, I think this, and they're like, okay, cool, let's try it, and then they end up using it. You know what I mean? So it's like, working with like that Academy Award winner Wally Pfister, he's like, he fully embraced drone technology, bought his own, like we had all these drones, and he was like such a nerd. And like, it's so great when people like that are old school
can still adapt
and come, but you know it's like in the film industry, sometimes you butt heads with people and they just don't want to know it. Maybe they've had a bad drone experience too, someone crash on set that caused issues. So there's that. But, you know, why not use this technology and put cameras like in crazy stupid places and get incredible one shots now as well. So
because as much as I want to say that it's oversaturated, like every single video has a drone shot in it, it's still not. Like, you know, at one point jibs became a thing, and we were able to get crane shots, and no one else could afford those, so it was still limited, and we could still use crane shots that are, sometimes I'm watching shows where I'm just like, God damn it, how did they do that? You know what I mean? Like, how did they pull that shot off? So you can always keep pushing the limit. So I think that there's still so much room to expose new ways to film. You know what I mean? New ways to use the tech, just like they were using.
Yeah, I've definitely done like a lot of music videos where they've seen all these crazy one-take shots, and they're like, they think they can just get it in one day. They're like, oh, we're just going to hire a drone guy to get this one take because we've seen it on YouTube from this other. But a lot of music video producers, they don't realize the choreography, the practice. Like, it's like anything, like the dancers practice for weeks, as I'm sure you're aware of, working with those big productions, weeks to get their dance and all their moves in sync.
Absolutely.
Drone pilots, if you want a really, really expansive one-take shot, you need pre-production meetings. You need the drone pilots to practice. You need talent to, you know, people to stand in where the talent's going to be. Because I've gone out and I've had music videos, and every time I get a music video job, I cringe almost, because it's like,
because you know that the rapper's not going to show up till 5 minutes before his take.
It's not even that. I think it's like client expectation for budget is always, they expect the world, but they've only got, you know, pennies. And it's like, I'm down to do like help out on indie productions and stuff, but it's like, your expectations got to be realistic with the budget. You know, like I got friends like, you know, I'm starting the DroneGear podcast soon, and I just called my mate Eric Maloney, who's the producer and for Proc Cinema, and his best friend and one of the homies is Rob McIntosh. And anyone in the drone industry has heard of Robert McIntosh. He's the guy that did that Venice one-take shot.
Insane.
And he was doing that for months, crashing, and then he eventually did it. But it's like, took him months to get that. And off the back of that video, like GoPro featured it. He's like one of the most gangster original drone FPV pilots in the world.
That shot is like, I get that DM to me all the time, just because someone's seen me fly drone once.
And like, there's like a handful of people in the world that can do that, maybe only a couple. And like, everyone out there's a drone pilot, and like, even I know, I'm like, I'm good, but I'm not. There's way more talented FPV pilots and other, you know, heavier lift drones, you know, cinematographers that are way better than me. I'm the first to say that, but you know, these music producers could definitely get the best shots and get these crazy one takes. But it's like, it definitely,
you gotta spend some money for
you gotta spend some money, and it's gonna take time. You know, but
they usually would be like, nah, scratch that idea as soon as I hear that. Which is the worst. It sucks, because you could do some cool shit with this stuff, but that's the problem, is like, music videos already have no money to begin with.
I think my biggest gripe with the film industry in general, in relation to drones, you've probably witnessed this as well if you've done a drone job, is when I did the Ford commercial, it's like, you know, they're huge productions, multi-million-dollar productions. And they had a whole freeway shut down out in the Mojave, 4 lane. I think it was 4 or 6 lanes.
Right.
Like for 4 miles, 6 miles or something, diverting whole traffic for the entire day. And it was this 12-car Ford F-150 truck scene. And then they got the camera car, the expensive like Russian arm, you know. And I get it, that thing's worth a lot of money. And they'll do like 100 takes. And then it's like, drone team, like,
get in there, do it.
Like you got like one flight, just, you know, and it's just like,
it's like, why?
Like the camera car gets like 100 takes, and it's so funny. They also got a helicopter for that shoot, and I saw the helicopter shot, and I'm like, I could have got that with the drone. The amount of money wasted was just,
it's stupid.
Phenomenal. Like
I've learned that working with big brands, they are so used to the old school mentality of going to an agency that has been tried and tested, and like they've spent millions of dollars with these people, and the video happens to exactly like their idea. Everyone in the company is happy, and they're afraid to take those risks working with newer tech or things that may be a little bit more edgy, or just to be on set and know that they didn't get the helicopter and they're really dependent on a drone operator. And the fear of that makes them choose to spend more money on dumb shit that just costs so much money. Like, and then then you have that situation where you just what how much does that fucking helicopter cost for the day?
Like probably 20-30 grand.
And
easy.
One shot that you could have gotten, I guarantee you, I'm sure
it was like the most basic. But anyway, like other shots that I got top down, it was high wind. It was like in the Mojave, the windmill was blowing, and like I got a hit over the radio, and they're like, all right, drone pilots, like, just get whatever you can get, just go out. Like, I was just like, yes, finally. They're like, just go steal shots. But the camera car was still in the fucking shot.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, fuck, like piss the fucking camera car off, you know what I mean? And anyway, I ended up like flying really low and flying over like these 12 trucks, and they're like towing Christmas and Santa and a jet engine, and they ended up putting like another 30 in post.
Oh shit.
But I did this low flying shot over, and it's an only shot you could get with a drone.
Yeah, right.
And ended up using it.
That's sick.
But you know, it's like, that was like, just go out and steal some shots. It's like, give the pilot a bit of creative freedom, someone that knows what he's doing, and you're gonna get shots. And I'll piss the camera car off as well. Please. But all the drone pilots I speak to in the industry, it's the same old car commercials, big productions. They're doing, you know, and they've got to turn over the shots and move on to the next scene really quickly. So drone teams don't get a lot of time to do what they need.
And it's like a lot of times that you're probably just having to deal with like, we'll fix it in post. We see the camera car. Who gives a fuck? We'll paint it out.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So, but that's, you know, in saying that, there's this new generation of video producers coming up like yourself, that we've got this network of creatives, and it's like we're now almost working like as an agency, and like working on a smaller footprint and putting out just as good work, if not better, than some of these like crazy big productions. So
I think it's going to be an interesting change over the next 10 years. You know what I mean? Like to see even 5, 4, like it's progressing so quickly, and it is cool that you same thing with this, like just be able to find young shooters like so quickly. You can just call out in a specific location, and you probably have someone there that's totally capable of creating at that rate, you know?
Yeah, I just did a, not last year, the year before, I got hit up by Western Digital, the hard drive company. They own SanDisk and G Technology. The PR hits me up. He's like, dude, we love your YouTube videos. We got some budget. We got this new solid state drive coming out. We want you to produce some content. I'm like, cool. So I like just did a whole creative pitch, wrote the treatment, did like 3 pages, couple different locations, did this whole storyboard, and they're like, yeah, we love it. Cool. And then it's like, okay, great, the budget's been approved. And I'm like, cool. And they're like, okay, now you got to go to our agency. So I'm like, like Western Digital hit me up, and then they're like, oh, this agency's got all that money, you've now got to go through them. And I'm like, fuck. So I was like jumping through all these hoops. I'm like, the company wanted me, then they had to shoot me to their agency, and just like the third wheel like stuff, I have to send stuff to the agency, then them, and it's just like this
back
like
and forth.
This slow, and like the content, I'm actually, after this podcast, I'm just about to release the last of the Western Digital video, and it's some of the best work I've put out to date.
Oh, dope.
In terms of not just drone content. I'm like, I star in it, but I sort of wrote the treatment, directed it. We had this climber from Canada. We were in like the remote British Columbia in this area. I did my research where we could fly drones legally. You can shoot out there, you can do anything. and shot with red. Had my buddy use a DP, shoot with the red, all the ground shots, and wrote some like narration to it. So like, yeah, it's a product, but it's like, it's a really, the cinematic shots are just beautiful. I can send you some of them too if you want to overlay it over the video. But that's dropping on our Instagram in a couple of hours. But like, it took like over 12 months from like
start to
from
finish.
When they like from I got the email.
It's like you're making a feature, yo.
Yeah.
How long is the spot?
Man, like legal and all this stuff, and I'm just like, man, just let me deal with you guys direct. You know what I mean? You'll sit. Like,
it is weird that people do that. Like if they love it, you show them exactly what you're gonna do. Cool. Now go do this long drive to be able to get to where you need to be.
Yeah, and just like on that note, like with that company, like the agency, and I'm like, I ended up sort of talking to the PR guy from Western Digital, and I'm like, oh, how much is that like agency like? I'm like, how much are they getting to manage all your social? And he's a year, and he's like 3.5 million. And I like look at their socials, and like my one account is bigger than all three of their companies' Instagram accounts combined. I'm like, this is not right.
Yeah,
like,
it's not
and
right.
the content, like they're posting out of focus like pictures and like just like this basic
following
shit.
shitty trends and not doing it right.
Yeah, I'm
like,
just like, who's managing this? Like, so it's just like there's so much opportunity out there. Like,
I know
to come up and like take some of these contracts and like. Yeah.
Do you think you will start trying to aim to do stuff like that?
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Especially
and
once
work with like a team, you know, like, hey, like let's all collaborate. We all have our own companies, but let's collaborate, get some big contracts, and everyone gets a piece of the pie, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's how we've been looking at too with my friend Andrew. We started this thing, Being Human, which we didn't want to call it a production company. We just wanted to be a production collective, because I feel like we have to have a name for it just so when we funnel work or whatever, but we know so many talented creators, you know what I mean, that have ideas. And I feel like if you just bank on the one building where the agency lives, and like that's who people are throwing $3.5 million to run social shit, you know what I mean? It's like
they should be scared, man.
They should
be really scared, because like it's guys like you and myself, like being proactive and getting with a collective of like talented young individuals. Like we're going to be the new agency.
I think so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's exciting.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool because it allows us to finally be creatively free to an extent.
Yeah.
And we know what's fucking working.
Yeah.
So I know that the agency has money. They should know what's working. But a lot of the times you see it, and I've seen it on so many times where I'm on set and I'm just like, why is that person over here? Why did they just spend like 50 grand on that shit over there? Like these people aren't even doing anything. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. They'll always be around, but there's definitely a shift going on, and I think big brands are definitely cluing up. Right. And what company doesn't want to save money at the end of the year? So we'll see that for sure.
So what's your current setup? Like, what do you have? I mean, I'm sure you have a shit ton of gear.
Yeah. So I've got, obviously I have the small drones. I'll start from the small, because even though they're small, we use them on productions. We just did a Tim Allen show. I should know. Again,
he has a TV show?
Yeah, it's like, it's
Home Improvement.
Not Home Improvement. It's one of his new ones. But anyway, they wanted us to do something for Christmas, like hang a star with a drone. Oh, cool. And the set just wasn't big enough, or the tree was too big and the lights, and they just ended up cutting it. But I went on there, but anyway, they came back again, and again I sent 2 of my guys in there. I was overseas in Australia, but yeah, we did. So we used a Phantom for that. But we've got the Mavic Air. We got 2 Mavic Airs, a Phantom. I got a Mavic Pro 2, which is, if anyone is out there looking to get a drone,
I love it.
Insane. Like the range is stupid. The camera, Hasselblad, like stupid drone for the price, like, and the features. This Mavic 2 is great, and we use them on productions, you know what I mean? Like, depending if it's like going to be on camera for like this series, so that was the Phantom. I have 2 Inspire 2 X7s, so we always have 2 of everything when it gets to that level. I just had a new custom heavy lift drone built. I'll send you a picture of that if you want to throw that up over there, which is a beast. It's a X8, and that's got I had it designed to carry the Ronin 2.
Okay, word.
So it's a beast. Yeah. And red and heavier lens packages.
What's the difference between getting that and what does DJI have that?
The Matrice 600?
Yeah.
So this one just can lift way more.
So you're limited on lenses at that point and bodies.
There's the legal limit is 55 pounds. Right. Total like package, drone and everything. But this one's been designed to take 65 total weight. But So that makes it better to fly at 55, and you can get approvals for over 55. It's just a few hoops and paperwork you got to jump through. But I presented that drone at CES, actually, at the Tiffin booth. I spoke for Tiffin again each day, talking about drone filtration, but had this monster drone on stage. And the guy that built the drone that flew Casey Neistat. Remember the Casey Neistat video?
Yeah. I wonder what
the
that
snowboarding one?
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
He built that, and he actually didn't get any credit for it. Because
I saw the BTS video. Wasn't there like a couple, were they the dudes that were like building it in the truck, or that wasn't him?
The guys that did the video just flew it. They didn't build the drone. So they may have put it together in pieces, assembled it. I think they shot that in Finland, that video, because they couldn't do it legally in the US. So they shot it in Finland, and there was also a bit of
some post work,
a little post work, I think, on him being lifted. I think that may have been a helicopter and some Hollywood stuff, but they, it was a flying drone that could tow him, and it was just a beast. So this guy Johnny Beavers built that, and his company's Mid-Atlantic Multi-Rotor, and he's probably one of the biggest names in the industry that no one's ever heard of. He just quietly kills it. Flew 165 times last year to jobs. So I've always looked up to him as an aerial cinematographer. When I first got into the industry, he was like
the one.
He was someone that was like doing really, really well and very technical and can build anything. So yeah, he built that drone for Casey that flew Casey Neistat. So I'm like, this is the guy that I want to design and build this drone, something that's going to be rock solid. So it's an X8 frame, so if we lose a motor, we can still fly.
Oh, cool.
So it's in Pittsburgh right now. It was kind of a rush build for CES because I just wanted to show something. We did fly it out in the desert, but we had a faulty flight controller from DJI. So DJI is a great company, but they still
have some issues.
Major firmware issues that anyone that has used their products knows that they F up firmware all the time. I'm not even going to go into that. That's a whole nother story. But so it's a beast. That's what and we're going to get a second one probably in a few months. So again, that'll be used for feature films and strictly closed motion picture.
How often are you practicing with all these? I mean, I know you fly so much enough at this point that it's probably second nature, but like for that drone, for instance, if it's only for features and if maybe you do more smaller jobs that don't require it, how often are you going out and practicing? Especially living in California, it might be kind of hard to do that.
Yeah, it's really hard to fly in Los Angeles in general, like with legal places. There's plenty of private properties. With drones like that, you basically want to be flying on private property all the time, just for safety reasons. But I haven't been able to fly it because it's gone back to Pittsburgh to get sort of all the flight controller and power management unit fixed. But when we get it back, I'll be flying at least 3 or 4 times a week with that. And I want to log a certain amount of hours before we actually put it into shoots. I really want to test the speed, weight, flight times, do 20 flights back
you
to
need
back,
to know it.
fully loaded, simulate some shots. So we've got to basically prove that this drone is worth like airworthiness before taking it on set, safety wise, and come up with our safe flight work manuals and flight logs. So because Johnny wants to sell this drone as well. Oh, cool. But they're made to order because they're quite expensive. It'll be around $18,000 to $20,000 for that drone to buy. Without a gimbal. So the Alta 8 is about the same. And this can lift more than the Alta 8. And it has the DJI flight controller, which is super. It's DJI. It's rock solid once it's working, and it's not fold like it's the A3 Pro. That's what DJI was really well known for to start with, was their flight controller. So it's kind of exciting, but it's also nerve-wracking when you're flying $150,000 worth of gear in the air. So
and you're one of the first ones to do it.
So it's like there's other guys doing it, but it's like there's maybe a dozen in the world that are flying drones like that regularly.
That's insane.
Once we get it up and running and we get a second one, we can then rent it out on shoots.
Of course.
A lot of people in the industry that have drone production companies are really interested in this drone because it has a new brushless motor system from a company that I work with, and the power to weight ratio, where the flight time, it's all about flight times. So we're looking at going to be having longer flight times with heavier payloads.
How long is longer? What is
10,
that? What
10 to 15 minutes.
Right now you're at like what, 8 to 10?
The Alta 8 fully loaded is maxing out at like 7-8 minutes flight time, like max 8 minutes. fully loaded.
Right.
So if we can get 10 to 15 minutes with this drone, again, we haven't done enough flight tests yet, fully loaded, but once we do, we'll be reporting back, and there'll be a lot of people interested in those flight times.
That's going to be insane.
Yeah.
So how do you go about promoting yourself? Is it just through people finding your channel, or is it like word of mouth as far as like people like, oh, I need a drone guy, and obviously you're meeting all these different producers?
Yeah. So I got Matt, who's my producer now, and he's come with his, black book of contacts, which is very expansive. So his phone just automatically rings from being in that network from his previous company. So that's why he's been so valuable.
Sure.
So there's that resource. We got the website, we've got the Instagram. There's Google. We come up first on Google when you type in the company name, because we've sort of made that shift to productions. We've got to get our name up in that aerial cinematography.
Yeah, I did see that when I did Google it. At first, it was the same photo, like the team photo or whatever.
Yeah, so Matt's been working on all that. I've got a couple guys helping us out with the website again. So I'm like trying to expand the company and like get more people in, and everyone still has their own companies, but we're all working together.
Right.
And
that's good.
Just to get more work.
So are you ever finding yourself contacting people to work on jobs?
Not really.
You don't need to at this point?
Not really. I'm getting a bit of work through my girlfriend at the moment, who she's a travel blogger. So I've been doing like sort of one-man banding it and she's got all these big brands and stuff that she works for. So
it's been an interesting way for you to like segue her relationships getting into working with those brands.
Yeah. Well, she's never really done video so much. Yeah. So I've been like, she's been inviting me on these trips, and I'm like, cool, I'll come on this free trip. Then bring my Inspire 2 and my ground cameras and my gimbals, and put together like videos like you put together, like sweet little videos, and turn them over fast, because that's what it's all about. Yeah. But again, beautiful, smooth, fluid shots, some dope music. So I've been doing that.
What's her website called?
The Road Less Traveled.
The Road Less Traveled.
Yeah, with one S. Her name's Leslie. The Road Less Traveled. That. So she's killing it. But so I've been doing work there. But you know what it's like. You always a phone will ring, and then again, if I'm away, which I've been a lot, just my guys fill in, or like, you got what's so good about having the network. And we got homies in Miami, and he's like, dude, I need a drone pilot in LA. I'll fill in for him. Or if I get referred work to Miami, I'll be like, yup, Jake. So it's kind of like that. Yeah. Other pilots and drone teams like helping each other out, because not all jobs can afford to fly you to, obviously the big productions can. Yeah. But that's good being in that network. It's like, my homie in New York, he can do that job for you. Easy. And then like if he gets a job in LA, boom, he'll hit it back to you.
Right. So do you ever work with people that haven't been certified yet, or do you find new pilots that you think have what it takes, and then kind of encourage them to go through the process?
Yeah. We can't hire anyone that isn't licensed. So it's too risky. Yeah. So usually we've just guys on social media who it's like anything over time. When you've been in the industry for a while, guys are doing good work, they're licensed, and the last thing you want to do is send a guy out on a job that doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't know cameras, doesn't know settings, like shutter speed, f-stop, all these things, filters. Right. You just like, you can fly a drone, but if you don't know how to frame a shot, and you don't know camera settings and what codec and all these things, so it's like you're not just a drone pilot these days. So that's something, as a partner in DroneGear Productions, we're looking for pilots that are like experienced, have gear, licensed, insured, so we can send them out to jobs and they can just nail it.
So you would require them to have their own insurance versus utilizing yours, or
not necessarily.
It could go both ways.
We if it's our job, our insurance would cover it.
Right, I got you.
Yeah. So, but them having their own insurance helps as well. Yeah. And usually when you have your equipment, you're just insured. Right. But you have to be Part 107 FAA licensed to get jobs and get paid legally. There's just too many repercussions if you go out, fly a job unlicensed, hit a power line or hit a talent in the head, and it's like, it's just all over.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So when you fly, is it, usually it's a 2-man, sometimes up to a 3-man band if you had someone trying to pull focus? Yeah. Are you usually doing 2-man?
Yeah, it's usually 2-man for the most part. But on the bigger productions, like the Apple one that we did, we had our pilot, Colin, Garrett was operating camera, and then the set had, their assistant camera pulling focus. and DP checking the settings for the red and stuff. But again, the camera operator, he knows reds, he knows camera settings. So there's like 2 people, double the people checking the settings. Hey, the lights come out more. We need to put another stop filter on, or we need to go up 2 stops for this time of light. And then I was just there kind of overseeing and just sort of making sure everything was going well. So sometimes I'm not even doing anything, which I'm totally cool with. But yeah, 3 to 4 on the big productions, for sure.
So is it, what would you say your favorite role is to play? Or are you piloting more, or are you doing camera controls?
I love piloting, especially on car commercials. But I think the older I'm getting, I'm really enjoying more like taking a role back and directing and just sort of producing and directing. So like getting the work coming in and then overseeing it.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I do love flying. It's like something like anyone that loves, you can't explain it if you haven't flown drones, but once you fly and you pull off a sweet shot.
It feels good.
There's nothing like it.
When you do pilot, how do you have FPV set up for you to see, at least like front of your drone, and then your pilot has, or the controller can have his view from the camera?
So on the Ford commercial, it was a pretty straight shot, one of the shots anyway, the freeway. So I had my FPV camera set up, but the FPV camera on the DJI Inspire 2 sucks.
Does it come built in?
Built in, and it's got a 2-axis little gimbal, but it's patchy at best. But usually what I have is my Atomos Sumo monitor set up on a stand, usually offset from my innovative cart, which is kind of like our station. And that's set up from the camera operator's controller, running HDMI out or SDI if it's the other controller, into the screen. So that's sending pretty much live within whatever.
Yeah, so you're seeing
half milliseconds of latency or whatever. So I'm seeing what the camera's seeing. So I always kind of try to watch the shot because the shot's really important. So usually I've just got my line and I use the FPV camera as a reference. But then there's like FPV pilots, people that like, they have to have their goggles on. You're legally not allowed to do that because you're supposed to have a visual line of sight. So that's cool. And some guys operate much better like that, but that's not how I go. I really like to monitor the shot with a reference, and then I'll look down and just make sure I'm sort of heading in the right direction. Cool. Use that as a reference because that camera is only really good for a reference.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Huh. Shit. This is I could talk about this shit all day long.
Yeah.
It's fucking addicting. The channel's great too. I remember watching your videos. You would like go post up in Malibu or something and just like review just anything that was coming out. And I remember watching and be like, this is pretty dope because I don't know how many times I think when I moved my girlfriend out to LA, I found the Quad Talk podcast, I want to say the name of it, but it's all FPV drone pilots or something. And I remember tuning into that, and I wanted to fly FPV, just get into it and start building. I just never had time, but I was a advocate fan. Like I was listening to so many hours of these dudes talking.
The FPV guys are fucking awesome.
They're super
those guys are on another level.
It's ridiculous.
It's definitely a different form of flying, and it's definitely taking off right now in like camera movement and being used in productions. And the first guest, I think I was just saying earlier on my podcast, I called Eric and I'm like, please, can we get Robert McIntosh on the DroneGear podcast? Because he's an icon. And when you have that first episode, you kind of want that. Right. I want it to be someone special.
Yeah.
So mad respect for all the FPV flyers out there and any YouTuber as well. When I was out doing these YouTube reviews, I wasn't getting paid. There's like so much work that goes into them. I was like, usually in media, you're either like really, really busy and then you have like these lulls, which can be a couple of weeks, maybe even a month, but then it just picks up and then it's like crazy again. So I use those lulls in the media game to like, all right, cool. I'm going to do some YouTube videos, reviews, tutorials. If something from DJI was like upsetting me or I didn't know, I couldn't find a way to do it, I'd figure out how to do it and then do a tutorial on it. So it's a good way of giving back.
Yeah, it's super helpful. Like for me, just even if it was shit I wasn't even using, I was just like kind of curious anyway. So just to, it's like picking up a book and learning something you don't necessarily need to know. Yeah, the YouTube channel I started definitely was very, it varied. I did the YouTube reviews and then I did FAA, how to get licensed for free. Because like all these companies were coming out charging you all this money and I'm like, well, screw that. That's like $200.
all the materials online. It was a little bit harder, but I just showed people the resources, how you can get licensed for free and save yourself $200.
Did that pop off?
Yeah, it's got like over 20 or 30,000 views or something. But it's like people are like, oh, great, that was super helpful. But it's old now. The thing with YouTube is, you know, you got to like keep on the content. So that's been my hardest thing with that, is like consistency. And
do you think that it would be easier to do? You were talking about building your podcast studio by having that space to create in. Do you think it'd be easier, just like you said, flick on the lights and just pop out a tutorial real quick? Absolutely. And again, it doesn't matter the setting, but for me, I want a comfortable setting for my guests to come in, and like I want to have multiple guests too. So I'm like, I'm just about to drop another $3,000 on like audio equipment. I'm like, you can really go nuts with it. But it's taken me like a few years to get to this point, and like, okay, cool, I have the capacity to do this now. But yeah, definitely when you have a space that's like set and forget. Yeah, I can't wait. It makes like, and if other people in LA want to come and start their own podcast, I'm going to be like open, like this space is for creators, you know, and I want to like look after the homies and stuff. So yeah, put a green screen up, and then people can put whatever they want behind it. Yeah, it's going to be clutch. Yeah. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see what you guys do. So you'll do that on the same YouTube channel? Yeah, probably. So I'm going to launch it on like the YouTube channel, and then obviously the the Premier podcast platform. So like you're doing here, which is sweet. 1, 2, 3 videos. Video cameras. So it's a little bit more work, but I think it's totally worth it. Yeah, I've gotten lucky through Black Window Cream by having. Are you in the group? Have I added you to that? I should add you. Sure. It's a private Facebook group. I'm not in the Facebook. I'm following on Instagram. Yeah. I'll set you up. It's cool to see it, but there's so many cool creators in there, and I got lucky to have a couple fucking awesome interns through that helped me out with this, because there's no way I could manage doing these and then editing that and making social bits and doing all this stuff on top of our real life. It's so challenging, but having an opportunity to get an intern and then pass through, like, and for sure, if once it comes to it, if you need extra help editing, I'm sure the community would dive onto it. If you know, I mean, you know a lot of people, but you never know. People are always looking for opportunities. Absolutely. That's what I love about, you know, Instagram and social media in general with our generation. Like, we all help each other out. You know what I mean? It's such a good network to have. Yeah, absolutely. I had this interesting shame on me situation just happened to me like 2 days ago. I was out in Atlanta for the Super Bowl, and I was with a friend, and he had a Mavic Air and wanted to grab a quick shot of like kind of the stadiums that we were by the stadium, but we were at State Farm Arena, so we were like right next to it. But sun was setting. He was like, "Oh, let's just go out there." We kind of looked out, and we're like, doesn't look any like crazy out here. Like, we're in this big ass parking lot. He's like, I'll just fly it up real quick. And this is 3 days before the Super Bowl. This was like Thursday, I think. Go up, come down. We are walking back to the stadium, and out of nowhere, I swear it was like a movie. Like 4 or 5 of these massive 4-wheelers pulled up, and they're like, "Don't let them in!" They screamed this at the security guys that were letting us back into the venue. Holy shit! And we get stopped, and it's bomb squad. It's like it's all these cops, and they have guns and stuff and everything. And they stopped us and like, "Were you flying a drone?" And right away, my friend was like, "No," like just lied. And then literally right as he says it on their walkie-talkie, I can hear it. They're like, 2 guys in all black, 1 guy in a red top, black pants, and I like look at us. I'm like, "Fuck!" And he's like, "Come here," and he brings us over, and he's like, "Yo, give me the drone." He takes it, they take it, and they're doing all the tests for bombs, and they're like, "This is a no-fly zone." We're like the Super Bowl's not for like 4 days. Are you it's still a no-fly zone? Like, and Dusty he doesn't like fly all the time, but he's just like, it usually blocks my, doesn't allow me to fly if it's a no-fly zone. Like, it's built into the app. Yeah, the geofencing. Yeah, and he's like, but it was fine. It worked fine. And he's like, no, it came out today. It's this whole thing. It's a military fly zone now. Like, no one's allowed to fly in here. And we're like, well, we saw another drone flying, but it was theirs. Yeah. So they had one up running. Yeah. Anyway, long story short, they call the FBI and the FAA over. So we have to wait. We're held up for like 2 hours. They bring us over, and they basically were like, "Yo, you just broke like 3 big no-nos. Like, you flew when there's a shutdown. You flew at night, even though the technical sunset. I guess I don't know what you learn when you take the test. But the sunset wasn't for like 10 more minutes. Yeah. And then flew over a crowd of people, even though we said we were over a parking lot. He's like, if it, something messes up. Yeah. It was insane. So now he's kind of waiting. It's a federal offense. Wow. It was like the most insane thing I've ever seen. He doesn't have to go to court or anything, does he? He doesn't know. They basically just took the drone, and they said it's evidence, and they're going to contact him down the road. And it was pretty wild. Yeah. It's crazy now, like with DJI and, the FAA, like they literally can like have access. Like when you fly somewhere, like they can share that information with the FBI like instantly. It was insane. And it's like GPS, like they probably had like a program up
and they're like, okay, cool, boom, and they just honed in. So yeah, it's definitely one of those things where people buying them even before I knew a few guys in the drone industry going out there to do drone work inside the stadium that all you know, permitted it and all that stuff. But yeah, it's definitely pretty crazy now, the technology. Man. They can like track everyone, and everyone that logs in, you can't fly without logging into your account. So they get your name,
number, your social, all this stuff, which is good. I would prefer it to be like that. But at the same time, it was interesting afterwards because I was just like kind of shook by it. I'm like, man, that's crazy that, you know, there was just no negotiating, no apologies, no like, hey man, we were up for 4 minutes, like we won't do it ever again. The guy was just like, sorry, this is just it, and it was like, and so, but we looked into it a little bit more, and even on their site, it showed like on their app that they had, it was like no fly zones, and when you clicked it, it would take you to a 404 can't load page anymore. There was like all these issues. Their site was like not up to date. It wasn't functional, and so there's all these things that could have technically, maybe if we were looking before, like couldn't have found it. So it's a give and take. Like I said, like there was no rules back when we started, and now they're trying to figure out how to maintain it. But you don't want incidents where people are like, I don't want to be in an airplane landing and all of a sudden some soccer dad's flying 2,000 feet in the air. And
there's definitely like YouTube, like it's pretty easy to go on and you see like some weekend warriors out there flying drones like miles away and like really high, and it's like, you know, and when I started DroneGear, the Instagram account, it was to share content, the hashtag, and start this community and sharing dope work and photos. And like, to be honest with you, as the years have gone over, the reason I've progressed into like DroneGear productions now, rather than sharing, just being a drone sharing account, is like I just see the same drone shots, and then it's like, and then also like 100 other drone sharing accounts. Like I started DroneGear, and then all these others started, and they've blown up. But it's like, what's their point of difference? Like they're just providing like drone sharing content, and like 90% of the shots are illegal. They're flown in national parks. Like they're beautiful and all, but like some are like so photoshopped. Like you got all these talented photographers around the world, and not hating on them, but it's like they're not flying by the rules, and like they're part of the problem of like the drone industry getting a bad rap, flying over Santa Monica Pier, doing a top down. Like I just won't do it. I did that 5 years ago when there was no rules, and got that shot. Now it's like people doing it. It's like, you should not, like, you know, you're not allowed to fly there, and then these accounts share them. So for me, I'm like shifting to like doing what you're doing, is like collaborating with fellow like filmmakers, inspiring other people, doing the podcast, and just doing actual full-on production work, and trying to be a source of like information, inspiration,
proper education. Yeah, that's great.
But that's why I've sort of stopped sharing work, because it's just like, it was the same old. I'm like, man, I just want to keep evolving, and I hear get away from that. But
I can't believe that we were in the same place in South Africa at the same exact time. So he just told me right before he got here, because I was just in South Africa with Beyonce and Jay-Z. They were headlining Global Citizens Festival. Yeah. You were there spectating.
I was there.
Fucking front row, pretty much right by me, I guarantee you. Like I was everywhere.
I went with my girlfriend, Leslie Murphy, she was on The Bachelor, and she's got a successful travel blog. And so I was there as her partner and sort of doing her media photographs and some video and stuff. And there's all these other influencers, and we're with one of the higher ups at Johnson & Johnson, and epic lineup. Beyonce, like Jay-Z, Pharrell,
Ed Sheeran.
Like it was Ed Sheeran. It was just a crazy concert in Johannesburg, and it was just like such an atmosphere. And we're in the front row, and then like he's like, the Johnson & Johnson reps like, we got the best seats, and then there's this scaffolding right there, and he's like, okay, calls the president, like we're going up to a box. But I saw like 2 days before, I met this guy in this random mall in Johannesburg, and I'm like, and he's like, oh, I'm part of Beyonce's like video team and stuff. I'm like, oh, I know this guy on Instagram, Ben. He's like fucking killing it, doing all like this amazing behind the scenes and video, and I'm like, I love his work. And then he's like, oh, Ben's my homie, and I'm like, oh, I wish I remembered this guy's name.
I wish I knew who it was.
But he was like talking you up, and I'm talking you up, and like, and I'm like, but you would have been so busy. And I was like,
how crazy is that, yo? That's so random.
It's crazy.
What a small world, bro.
That was like a cool, like, had you ever been to Africa before?
No, it was fucking insane.
It's nuts.
We did like a whole run. We went to we were in Johannesburg for like a week and a half maybe, and then after the show we went up to Dubai. and we were there. I'd never been there. And then we went to India, and she performed at this like private wedding. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. One of like, I think he's the 8th richest man in the world. Wow. Had the most ridiculous wedding. And Beyonce's like the band.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was like millions to get her.
But I've never been to any of these places. Like it was so wild. South Africa was different though, because I was trying to get a lot of coverage out in the city that we could use. Some of my drone shots were used in the content that we showed. Like I think we shot the stadium, maybe a cool shot of like the pool with these kids playing. It was like.
And what drone were you using?
That was the
Mavic 2?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah, I used the Mavic 2 for that.
Such a good drone.
I was
like
blown
completely
away.
usable footage, like more than
blown
usable.
away. There was a good sunset shot that I got of it. Looked like fucking Lion King. I was like, oh my God, we're really in South Africa. Like I'm flying a drone in South Africa. Yeah. Which is funny because, like I said, that was like my, I'm blanking on the word I want to say, but that was like my step forward into getting into relationships with people like, oh, hey, I have a drone. You want to see this? Boom. I think like the weirdest one was, I ended up at Zac Efron's house one night. Yeah. Mad random. Yeah. After party, there's like 8 of us. And my friend said something like, he was talking about how someone flew a drone. They found it in his pool. And when they got it out, the SD card worked and they put it in. There was footage of him and his brother like in their house, like taking showers, like, you know, he's got the cool glass front. And so someone had been filming their house, must have crashed and landed in their pool. Oh my God. Got it. And so when we were going out on the balcony, he's like, hey guys, shut the lights off on the balcony. Like, I don't want to turn them on. I'm paranoid that there's people out here filming us. I'd rather keep it low key. And my friend right away was like, Ben flies drones. And I was like, yeah, but not like creepy. I don't do it creepy. Like I showed him a video of like a whale or something that I got. He's like, oh, this is cool, man. Let's go fly sometime. And they gave me his number. I'm like, this is the most random shit ever. Yeah. But it's stuff like that would always happen because it was so new and it was so portable. Like the fact that I could put it in a backpack. And just have one with me. And then be able to do it and confidently get a shot real quick that I feel safe doing it and maneuvers and everything.
I think too, when you have that arsenal of equipment, so you don't just like do groundwork. It's like, hey, I have a drone, I can get some quick establishing shots. It's a point of difference for you as a creator. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, we're going to hire you over so-and-so next time. Like, yeah, Ben's so great to work with. He's like doing multiple things. But yeah, it's such a great perspective, you know. And I love it. Every production now has a drone.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Everybody. Even every real estate agent has a drone.
Yeah. But that was crazy, us being in the same country at the same time. But I was like, yeah, of course he's here. He's like, you know, I was like following you on Instagram and all your dope stories and stuff.
I wish we could have linked up. That would have been fucking tight.
I know. But,
next time in Johannesburg.
Yeah, next time. Yeah.
So I always let the Black Window Cream community ask. I let them know that you were coming like an hour and a half ago. So I got a couple questions. I let them ask you questions and I just read them off real quick. So you can do these kind of quick. I think I like this first question, which is from Tommy Johnson. He said, best crash story, which I think your first one's pretty fucking good. Like to think that a $20,000 drone.
If we could talk for another like 30 minutes, and I've heard and like seen a lot. My best one, honestly, like, yeah, I crashed the expensive drone, which was big, but my best crash story, I was on the most basic fucking shoot ever in Malibu, and it was what's it called, that surf break? I think they call it border, the border with the Ventura, the county line, county line, and state parks there. And it was like for some, you know, American Idol. Yeah, it's like for some Chinese it was for some Chinese version, like the Chinese rap or whatever. Like they got a rap one of that. And it was just, they were coming to America and they wanted all these different shots in Malibu and Hollywood and stuff. So start the day, I'm like, county line, no power lines, we've got approval, everything's legit, not even shooting talent, just like basic shit.
Yeah, just landscape.
And there's like nothing, like nothing in the way except for one lifeguard tower on the point, the famous iconic blue California.
Smoked it.
And I'm working with this new camera operator and this guy's company, who's this British guy. He's a really nice guy. And he just kind of comes and stands there and oversees and has the headsets on. And then like, he's like, all right, cool. So we're doing all these shots. He's like, all right, cool. Let's do like a wrap around the lifeguard tower, like low and like in line with it. So I'm like, I wanted to get close. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to move over here and we're all on the comms. But I'm like, you guys have me visually that way. So like cue me, you know, like cue me when to make my move. And they're like, okay, cool. And I'm like watching the drone. I'm not even watching the screen because I just, you know, that depth perception. So I'm like, okay, cool. I've got this line and they have there to cue me that way. And he's like in the screen, he's like, okay, make your shot. I'm like, he's like, make your move. I'm like, okay. I make my move because he cued me. Boom, straight into the lifeguard tower. Inspired to X7.
Oh,
like,
shit.
Like, you know, $8,000 just like fucking explodes.
Oh, no.
Like, boom. And I'm just like, are you fucking serious, dude? Like, the thing for me is like, I don't feel like that was my fault.
No.
Like, yes, I controlled it, but it's like he cued me.
Yeah.
He cued me into a lifeguard tower. And I'm just like, I had a brand new one in the car because I always turn up to shoots with two, but it's like, it's not the point. It's like,
it's ridiculous.
It's just like, it was the most basic shit. Like, I could have done a better job single op.
Yeah.
And working with someone new that I hadn't worked with before. If I had worked with 2 or 3 of my other camera operators, would never have happened.
Yeah. So it's good to surround yourself with the solid
That was the most basic shit. I got one more for you because this is just too good. It wasn't far from here.
Really?
And this wasn't even my drone. This was the Inspire 1 with the X3 camera, I think it was. So it wasn't even my drone. And my mate got me this job, and it was for some Chris Paul shoe release or something. And Chris Paul was going to be there, and you know, the people mad about sneakerheads, you know, like they'll line up for like
massive
hours,
lines.
like massive line. And I love sneakers, but I'm not going to be lining up. Anyway, doing this video, and he's like, cool, we're at last shot. We're going to do the big pull away. And I got this fucking guy, like this production company. He's a nice guy, but I moved the drone because I'm like looking around because there's all those, I think it was down on Melrose.
Yeah, right,
and there's all those light poles, all the old school ones. And then like he pretty much like, he's like, no, framing the shot up where he wanted, you know, all like this sort of the people there and doing this pull away, and like he lined me up, and he couldn't align me like more in line with this light pole across the road, and we were pretty much standing like adjacent to it.
Right.
And I'm like, so I pull up and I'm pulling away, and he's like, yep, faster. And like, I just went boom, straight into this light pole again. The thing just exploded.
Oh God.
The worst part was the card snapped when the camera hit the input, the SD card, so we lost
everything,
all the footage from the day. I'm like, didn't get paid, crashed my buddy's Inspire.
Oh,
that was probably the most embarrassing. And then like everyone on the streets like, the future's here, yeah, like yeah, drone guy, you suck.
Yeah, you suck.
That was probably like the most embarrassing one, and that was like super illegal. But again, that was before the FAA had got all their stuff in order. That was just in the middle of the street, people, and totally illegal. But
that's a bummer.
That was probably the most embarrassing.
Damn.
I'll take responsibility for that one.
Right, I hear that.
Yeah.
Let's see. These next one, I gotta wrap this up because, like I said, I've just had my kitchen. Soon come the studio.
Yeah,
love to have you back on once your podcast is up and running. We can promote it again.
Absolutely, I'll get you on the on our podcast.
Dude, let's do it.
Yeah,
podcast swap. That'll be dope. All right, so we got let's do like 6 more minutes, 7 minutes. These ones try to fire off quick. This guy just says, Thomas says, nice. Alex is great. Cheers.
Thanks, Thomas. That's awesome.
Let's see. Nico said, dope. Alex, do you think drones are a necessary tool for filmmakers in 2019?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like it's a no-brainer. I'll keep it short and sweet, but yeah, if you're a filmmaker, like having a drone, Mavic 2, Phantom 4 Pro, 4K, like it's
a lot of value.
Yeah, it's good value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew Jackson says, tips on scouting flight paths, shot planning, for anything you're doing prior to shooting.
Yeah, definitely scouting is like a huge part of the industry. Yeah, pre-production meetings, getting as much information. I think that's one of the biggest downfalls on sets now. And productions, music videos mainly, is like you just turn up on the night and it's like, boom, here's the shot. And for the most part, you can nail it, but definitely for more advanced and technical shots, especially in urban built-up areas, if you're doing like really expansive reveals from buildings or trees, like a lot of, you can crash fucking easily, and that's when you're trying to push the boundaries and get the best shots. So physically doing it and scouting it before flying, just walking that line and looking around,
super crucial.
Having a visual observer is like priceless. Yeah. So having that second set of eyes while you're flying, you can and if you have a camera operator as well, but if you're single op, don't ever like be shy to get someone like as a visual observer to watch the drone, because then you can watch the shot, keep that frame nice, and then that gives you peace of mind. He's like telling you, yep, go for it, pull up, so yeah,
super helpful.
Yeah, all those things will help. Yeah.
Let's see, let's do one more. These are great. Damn, which one do I want to choose? Let's do Josh says, what's the best drone related apps you use and what does each one do?
The best drone related app that I use is an app called AirMap. It's just air, and then I think it's M-A-P. I think, yeah, it's just AirMap as it sounds. And that is linked with the database, and you can actually log your flights and check if they're legal. If you're an FAA Part 107 pilot, you can log your flights, check them if they're legal, and basically log an area, comes up green, and that goes to the FAA, and you can get approvals that way as well.
Cool.
So AirMap is a great, I think it's linked to this system called LANC or LANARC. I don't know. It's one kind of word, but it's a way to get approvals for flights and stuff.
How long does that usually take to get the approval?
Instant.
Really?
Instant, some of them. If the airspace is sweet, like just instant.
Wow, that's dope.
And it's basically a way of like notifying other drone pilots, hey, I'm flying here, I've got this area locked down, we've got to shoot, it's all legit. But usually if you're a legit production, you've got to get, insurance for the city, certificates of insurance for the city. It's all about public liability now. It's a bit of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Let's end in on this one. What is the most challenging shot you've ever pulled off? Your proudest shot that you've ever got?
The most challenging shot I've ever pulled off, man, it's like hard because there's like so many. I'm trying to think about that now. I don't know what stands out the most. There's been that's like a really difficult question.
You gotta like go through the logs.
Yeah, I don't know. I think some of the proudest work I've done is obviously the Ford commercial stuff, like and being on the Super Bowl and the World Series commercials. That was pretty cool. I did some one take shots for a Hulu series which hasn't been released yet. That was pretty like technical. Just like seemed simple, but like it was a really long one shot and had to get it perfect. Another one we did for not Ozark, it was a Castle Rock. I did for another drone production company, but did some really sort of wide and low push-ins, and then again coming in really, really slow, and again dual ops. So just those are probably some of my most technical ones.
Did you do the Ozark shit?
I didn't do Ozark, no.
I was wondering. Those shots were nice.
Yeah.
I like that show.
But yeah, a lot of the stuff I don't even know where it goes sometimes. Like I just turn up and I do it, and it's like for some series, and I'm like the call sheets are like a Bible, and you just turn up, do your shot, do it well, and it goes somewhere.
Do you ever put your stuff up on like stock images, or
no?
You don't ever
not really.
License it that way?
Not really. I've licensed some stuff out of Hollywood. I think for Steve TV. Yeah. Some Hollywood, and just did various shots which I'd already had. Yeah. That was like a few grand easy. So, but again, that's super saturated right now. The stock like the stock footage.
So many people.
But I think one of the better shots I got last year was for an investigation discovery shoot where I did this this simple reveal. Sort of behind these trees in between this house, coming down as 3 cop cars were coming through, and then like through the shot.
That was planned, or you just happened to catch the cop cars?
It was like I just got like creative freedom and just did it, and ended up using it, of course, and it was like a really expansive, revealing shot. So yeah, I got a lot.
Yeah, so many. I'm excited.
But
cool. Well, if people made it this far into the podcast, I always let you pick a hashtag. And so what I tell them to do is go to your Instagram, whatever which Instagram would you want them to go to?
Which Instagram?
Yeah, like I want them to go to your Instagram account, and on the last, whatever the most recent post you made is, go to that and comment and put this hashtag that you're about to say and tag me in it at Ben Real vs. World if you don't know my thing. And then we can just know that people listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like 6 months from now, you'll get this hashtag popping up and whatever.
No. Okay, so my last post was this LA Rams one, my mate flying through the donut. Yeah. So if people can go on hashtag, I don't know, Ben Rocks.
Ben Rocks?
Yeah, Ben Rocks. Hashtag Ben Rocks.
All right, I fuck with that.
On the LA Rams Instagram flying through the donut. I got this funny video with like a 1970s LA Rams song, and it's funny. But hashtag Ben Rocks on that.
I like that. All right, try to find it. Cool. Is there anything else? How do you want people to find you?
Just drone gear, like in just Instagram.
Do you ever push your personal one, Drone Pilot?
Yeah, I got my Drone Pilot personal account as well.
Drone.pilot.
Drone.pilot. What are the odds of that?
I like that. I was like, how do you get this?
Yeah. But yeah, they can subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is where I'm going to be launching the Drone Gear podcast and just getting people on the drone industry and people, filmmakers, and it's going to be...
I'm excited for that to launch.
Yeah, I'd love to have you on. So
let's do it. I'm down.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man.
Yeah. How do you want to end it?
I don't know. How do you want to end it?
It's up to you. I just say that and see what you say.
Oh, cool. Well, let's end it with thanks guys for tuning in. Subscribe to Black with No Cream.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
Thanks for having us, Ben.
Yeah, dude. Thank you. Appreciate it. This was great.
Yeah. Cheers, buddy.
Bye. Bye. That's it for episode 61 with 𝐷𝐼𝐓𝐄. Thank you for tuning in and listening. Make sure to follow him on his Instagram account at DroneGear so you can start fucking with what he's doing. Our new merch store is officially live, so you can make sure to swing through and grab something if you fuck with your boy. Shop BWNC.com. Leave us a review on iTunes and YouTube or wherever you consume this podcast. And also, we want to give a big shout out to all the homies who are supporting us on Patreon. The homies who pledge our top tier levels, we call it the OU Rich at like $50 a month and the OU Rich at $100 a month. You guys are fucking goats. Thank you for supporting us. Without you, this podcast would not be possible, to be honest. Any of you guys supporting it just helps us out a lot. So our homies who pledge the top tiers, the OU Rich and the OU Rich producers, we appreciate you guys so much. We appreciate all of you guys for supporting us. So big shout out to Aisha and Reed, and a big shout out to Craig McCall, because you guys are fucking legends. We thank you guys very much. If you guys want to support us on Patreon, patreon.com/BlackWithNoCream. Thank you. Subscribe to Black with No Cream on every platform of your choosing, and we will see you next Wednesday, or no, what day is today? We'll see you Wednesday, and we'll see you Sunday. Cool. Bye, bitch.